Well, welcome to another video. Today we're working on a new Jeep. The old Jeep is no more. There's a link in the description that explains that. There's also a link that explains how I figured out how to do what I'm going to do today, which is an oil change. This is a Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo, recently picked up secondhand. Has a few stuttering issues when it's cold, so first thing we're going to do is fuel and oil filters. Today we're going to do the oil filter, and if we're lucky I won't have to crawl under it. And the only tool I'll probably need is a pair of these parallel jaw multi-grips. So let's get started. Now the very first thing we did fix on this was the bonnet strut, so that it does that all on its own. We're going to do things a little atypically today. We're going to suck it out the dipstick hole, partly because I've got multiple sclerosis and I had a really hard week and I can't crawl under vehicles, and this one is significantly lower than the other vehicles we're used to working on. These guys, you can crawl under them. These guys, I'm a bit fat to crawl under that. So now I have a problem. I can't stick my GoPro to the bonnet because it's aluminium. All right, so before I go poking around sucking oil out, we're going to just pop this little cover up, which I think just pops off. Oh, I am sore. I can't lean forwards. Now that cover is very oily, but it's clean oil. So it tells me maybe somebody just spilt a bit of oil when they were filling it. So oil filter element's supposed to be accessible on the top somewhere. Is it under this rubber thing? This looks like it's either a heat shield or good at keeping heat in, I don't know. Where is the oil filter element? Alright, I think I found it. It's in here. And that does say filters. Alright, if I'm looking at this clearly, I might be able to take the air filter cover off, lay that over that way. This cable may have something to do with that, or to say about that. I think this is the mass airflow sensor, I believe. This could probably use a clean anyway, largely because that could be some of our issues. Undo our clips. Is there only 3 clips? Appears to be the case. That is coming up. Alright, there may be a 4th the way this feels. It hinges off the back. So we come forward, hinge up that way, pull forward, and that should at least be able to be moved out of the way. Alright, so I've made the executive decision. We're going to remove the air intake cover. This hose clamp is pretty loose, so I suspect this has been done before. Alright, that clears us up a lot more room. Now we are still full of oil. I just want to loosen this to see if I can first before I suck the oil out. This needs to go along one more notch. Let's see if we can get in here. Ideally you'd use a socket for this, which may be the case in a moment if I haven't got enough swing room. I do not. Let's find a socket. Alright, Land Rover kit to the rescue. The 27mm that fits the wheel nuts on my military Land Rovers fits that perfectly. Let's get an extension bar and a socket. Alright, ratchet in lefty-loosey mode. Let's see, give it just a gentle push. Okay, that filter has cracked nicely, didn't take much, so I know that's going to move now. Now we can suck the oil out, now that we know we can probably get our filter element out. Alright, now we've warmed the engine up and it's been sitting for a bit, so it's at comfortable temperature, you can touch things. Now, we're pretty sure they overfilled this because it's past the high mark and up onto the dipstick here. Even every which way I've tested, that seems to be the case. Okay, so I rated my hose collection and I found I've got some more of it. Now, the astute among you might notice I'm putting 5W40 oil in this. That's because Australia and it's hot. But normally in America you put 5W30 in. I checked the service manuals and they've been putting 5W40 in. I don't really want to mix oil viscosities. Now that has definitely got right into the oil. We're going to try and measure this roughly the length of the dipstick. The suction line has expanded a little bit, but so we go. This should just about do the job. If I wedge that in there, we should be good. Here comes the tedious bit. Get some vacuum up, get it to suck some oil out. And we're almost there. Here comes the oil. All right. Oh, we live near an ambulance bay. I know, that's the it's Friday. They do the TEA alarm test at one of the local schools. All right, the oil's flowing very nicely. We're doing pretty well. Definitely having the engine about body temperature or a little bit higher, about 30 to 40 degrees Celsius, or what is it, about 60 something, 68 degrees Fahrenheit. A little bit off memory on that. Anyway, that certainly helps to lower the viscosity enough that it drags in very quickly. Doing this cold takes a while. So we're going to pump this all up. Give it a few pumps every now and then you can sit and watch. We're looking for at least 6 litres in there. Alright, starting to suck some air in now. Give it a bit of a pump, and what we'll do, we'll give it a probe and see if we can get anything more out of it. Okay, while we're waiting for the oil, we can have a closer look at the air filter. This one definitely looks like it could be clogged. That could be causing some hesitation issues, I would reckon. Diesels do tend to like having good air to breathe, especially a turbo. So, I think we're below the oil level now, so we can probably start to pull this out. Now I'm going to be careful because apparently there's a little plastic clip in the spring on the bottom of this that is the fuel bypass valve, and if you bust that, all the oil bypasses the filter, which I would imagine is not good. Oh, here we go. Now, because of that nub on the top, it's pretty hard to find anywhere to stand this up, so I've used a roll of garden hose. These are the fuel filters, not the right ones. Right, hopefully I've got the right one here. This is the R2736P. Hopefully this is the right one. It looks to be the right one. And this is a suggestion, I think, to put, or a mandate to put a fresh O-ring on. We're going to take a bit of this oil and lubricate this O-ring up. So this filter we're going to pull out gently. Does it clip in? It looks like there's clips on the top, so it may require some force to pop out. There we go. They appear to be the same filter, and I see an O-ring here. There's a bit of oil on that. Okay, a bit more oil on this. I really should be wearing gloves to do this. Diesel oil is very much not good for you. This one is not going to come off without a bit of a fight. Let's find the trusty Leatherman, which is now going to need cleaning, but probably won't need lubricating. Let's go here, pop you off, your O-ring on, push you on, goes on nicely, new filter element in. I kind of like how vehicles have come full circle with this. They used to do this years ago. So that does have the same clip assembly, yes. Let's get it central and then we'll push it in. There we go. Cool bananas. Alright, so I'm trying to make sure I don't take too long swapping these filters over. I don't want junk falling in here. Alright, here we go. Just gently finger tight this. Now, I don't have a torque, what's the word? I don't have the right ratchet to do this, so I'm going to have to guess 25 Newton meters, but so 25 Newton meters is probably just an open-ended palm on this, not a lot of torque, and I think that's because we don't want to shear the plastic off. Bit of a different camera angle for you. So we're just going to gently wind it down slowly, and that vacuum pump is still sucking oil out. Right, now we've hit that flange and it's hit a stop. So what we're going to do here, we're going to try and guess 25 Newton meters. We're going to bring our camera up and we're just going to push. That's about right, just where it stops there. I think that's about 25 Newton meters. I could push a 2.5 kilo weight by doing that. I'll lift it. I think that's about right. It's at a hard stop on the flange. I don't think it's going to go anymore. So we'll see how it goes. If it starts leaking oil, we will tighten it up a little bit. And this one will slowly leak oil. So we'll get rid of that. We're going to come back to the oil pump here. give it a bit more vacuum, and we'll give this a bit of a probe around, see if there's any more oil to be pulled out. Now while we wait for that to finish, we're going to look at the dipstick. The oil, here's the max mark for the oil. The oil level is actually way up here. Now one of the advantages with having a vacuum pump like that is if you do overfill things a bit, you can suck a little bit back out. Alright, I dropped the pipe coming out of the dipstick hole. We do need to pull the washer bottle off soon because the headlight's out here. You've got to pull that off, or the header bottle for the radiator we have to remove to get to the headlight underneath. Bit of a pain, I know. I think I'm going to do the mass airflow sensor later, but this does mean it's pretty easy to get to. I'll pop our airbox back on here, and we're going to do it up again. Tighten that hose clamp up. There we go. All right, that's 1, 2, and 3. The mass airflow sensor connector can go back on. I have some spray cleaner for that. I've got really oily hands, so we're going to just cheat just a little bit here. Okay, there's our filler plug. Now our oil bottle, I think, has a little spout on it that we can use that might help this. This is going to be interesting because my backstrap muscle in here, in the process of getting my kid to military base open days and a gun show and around the city and getting a new vehicle and everything, and the stress of seeing my wife in an accident, built up. So I woke up the other morning, coughed. That muscle decided to try and tear itself out of my body. So bending and twisting with the core muscles is quite the challenge at the moment. Although I can do this morning, which is why I'm doing the oil change. Couldn't do that yesterday. Oh my, I think it's a boy. Anyway, can we get it in the hole? Which is what she said. All right, gonna be here for a bit. All right, we'll clean the dipstick. We've put roughly half that in. We're gonna just check where we're at oil level wise. There we go. Are we touching the bottom of the dipstick yet? We appear to be. So I'm gonna clean this off and dip again. Okay, well, we've established we're just a tiny bit over the high mark, which is okay because we still have to fill up the oil filter. I've put the plug in here because if you leave that out, you start the engine, it flings oil up everywhere, which could very well be why there's a layer of clean oil all over everything. I'm happy that it's clean and not black diesel oil because it suggests that there probably isn't an oil leak here somewhere. So we should be pretty good. I'm going to go start it up now and let the oil light go out and then shut it down, let it sit for a moment and then check the oil level again. Right, the vehicle's in wife mode, so I actually don't fit. We're going to put our foot on the pedal and push the start button here. Now we're looking for an oil pressure light here somewhere. We're pretty good. That should be enough. Okay, let's go and have a look. There's some sort of servo in here that's active after you shut it down. I can hear it whining or something. I might be the fuel pump. I think that's what it is. Because when you first put the ignition on, it runs the fuel pump for a few seconds. So after you've filled the fuel filters, it'll fill up that chamber again. Let's pull our dipstick out. Alright, dipstick out. Wipe off because it will have splashed up everywhere. Now I'm going to do a little trick here. I'm going to stop at that bit, come up here, and we are just barely touching the oil, which means it's come down a bit. So go all the way in, and the oil is still sort of high. Alright, so I've sucked a little bit of oil back out. We'll take it for a drive, we'll check the level again, top it up if it needs topping up. But yeah, this thing's been really handy. We might take a drive and go find an air filter, but that'll be a different video, hopefully a little bit quicker. When we do the air filter, we might spray some mass airflow sensor cleaner in there as well and help clean that up, and we'll do fuel filters. Now of course, anytime I'm doing my hands, I get grit mitts out. This is a mob. I actually approached these guys, they agreed to sponsor me, and I only promote their stuff because it's good. I don't promote stuff just because people pay me to do it. This is actually good stuff. Absolutely wonderful for getting diesel oil off. Right, Right, our fuel economy has dropped to 16.6 litres per 100 kilometres. This was around about the 18 mark before, so definitely a marked difference. Alright, it's been for a drive, and excuse the neighbour mowing his grass. We've all got stuff we need to do. Where are we? So we're right to the top of the stick in a little bit. I think it's hot. It's making a guesstimation as to how high we are here. So we go to the rubber stopper, and we're right on the high mark. So only just above the high mark. So we might leave it there. Better than what it was when we got it. It was way up the stick. You know when you do like puzzles in primary school and you go, this is just busy work? They might have been onto something. That looks like that's the way it's meant to go. Yep, it doesn't seem to hold on by much. And I wondered what these little round things are. They go into these little sockets in the cover here. And pop, 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 pop. That one there, I think, feels about right. It never did sit on firmly, so that feels wrong. So we'll call this quits, and yeah, oil filter on a Cherokee Laredo. So there's your oil filter, there's your dipstick. That makes a good thumbnail. See you later.